Hello, a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi, and this is what we're trying to decode tonight. Because every time we cross a toll booth, we pay with the expectation of better roads. We pay with the expectation of smoother rides and safer journeys. But what do we actually get in return? On the show tonight, a big question. Your toll rupee, and where does it go? Well, why we're talking about this is because of a case that has come to light, where an army Jawan was pinned to a pole and thrashed during an altercation at a toll booth in Uttar Pradesh's Meerut. This is the Bhuni toll plaza where the incident actually unfolded. More than 4 toll booths, staff members have been arrested after a video of them assaulting the soldier circulated online. This soldier, Kapil Kawar, is with the Rajput regiment of the Indian Army. He was home for a holiday and was heading back to Delhi to get to the airport to fly to his post in Srinagar. Anxious about getting late for his flight, Kapil got out of the car and started speaking to the toll booth staff. An altercation followed and at least 5 toll booth employees thrashed Kapil and his cousin. Your toll rupee, and where does it go? The question isn't just being asked by commuters, it has now reached the highest court of the land. A question that's now reached the Supreme Court itself, and just today the Supreme Court asked, why should a commuter pay 150 rupees on a 65-kilometer stretch if a journey that should take 1 hour drags on for 12 hours? From 12-hour traffic blocks in Kerala to Delhi paralyzed in just 2 hours of rain, certain instances that we're accounting for, the court is asking what every commuter feels. Why pay if the roads are broken? And whilst potholes and poor highways raise one set of the questions, the aggression and hooliganism at toll booths raise another. An army Jawan that we just spoke about, assaulted on his way to duty. Road rage turning these poll booth plazas into battlegrounds. Safety, dignity and accountability are all at stake. FASTag promised ease, but we're still stuck in jams. Heavy tolls, bad roads. Are we paying for these potholes? Or is toll simply a tax without accountability? From Kerala to Delhi, rains, floods and crumbling expressways, they've exposed the hollowness of this entire toll promise. Fast lanes on paper, snail pace on the ground. And beyond broken roads is broken behavior, aggression at plazas, lawlessness, army Jawans being thrashed. We're talking not just about infrastructure, but accountability as well, about safety, about law and order, because tolls today are more than just a fee. They've become points or flashpoints. Tonight, on In Your Interest, we put the spotlight on these toll troubles, the legal, the social and the civic questions. Across India's highways, 1,087 toll plazas stand as the gateways to faster travel across national highways, and the money flowing through them is massive. Toll collections have surged 2.4 times in just 6 years, from over 48,000 crore rupees back in 2022-2023 to more than 61,000 crore rupees in 2024-2025. The revenues are rising steeply, but the road experience seems to be going down, and that's completely another story. So the big questions we're trying to decode on the show tonight. If the road is broken, why should citizens pay? And in a digital India of FASTag expressways, why are toll plazas still stuck in chaos, conflict and lawlessness? Joining me here on the broadcast, Major General V.K. Datta, defense expert. Very warm welcome to you. Dr. S. Velmurugan, Chief Scientist, Central Road Research Institute of New Delhi. Professor Bijan Misra, always a pleasure to have you with us, consumer policy expert. And Sonali Shah, advocate and civic activist. You know what, Dr. Velmurugan, let me come to you very quickly. Being the Chief Scientist at the Central Road Research Institute, today the Supreme Court itself has asked, and is there any credibility in the topic that we've chosen for today? Is this not in the masses' interest? Why pay rupees 150 for a 1 hour stretch that takes 12 hours? Does the authorities, the NHAI, do they have a mechanism to suspend or proportionally reduce tolls during such failures? Why back courtrooms have to be, come as points of judicial intervention to put a brake, to put a halt on these high tolls? What do you say, Doctor?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to share my thoughts on this debate. See, actually, you raised a very pertinent point. It is basically any road which we are paying for usage of a facility. You are expected to have a facility to a desired level of service. But such kind of things are a couple of examples I would like to just narrate the things. Very quick examples. When that Delhi Jaipur road was widened from 4 lane to 6 lane. So
Yeah.
actually speaking, there you are taking compared to a 4 lane stretch for a 6 lane thing, because toll is being levied, you are taking more than 6 hours, 6.5 hours. That was the level of time it was taking. Similarly, Delhi to Karnal, when it was widened, the similar kind of thing was there. So when it is being widened, or when there is first of all that particular time, government should make it mandatory that there should not be any toll being levied when the toll road is taken up for expansion, even though it is under a certain concessioner.
So clearly there is
Be
consumer
fast.
apathy at play over here. Professor Bijan Misra, let me come to you next. Professor, from a consumer policy point of view, with about 1100 national toll plazas, you've got FASTag, you've real-time data tracking, why are traffic snarls and these bottlenecks, especially at the national highways, a routine problem at these toll gates? Some places the FASTag isn't working properly, some places they're overcharging, some places they're being charged for, let's say, what you would charge of an 8-wheeler truck. Why still these problems? I mean, from a consumer policy expert, 2.4 times the price has surged over the last 6 years, but in terms of facilities on the ground, well, not much. That's a completely different story.
So, Kabir, let me tell you, there are 8 top expectations of a consumer from any service provider. Let's understand that first. What are those top 8? Number 1, standard. Now, if you don't set a standard, then anybody will do anything they feel like and they will get away because there is no standard. Number 2, as I heard you using that word several times, accountability. There has to be a accountability towards the consumer who is paying. The service provider has to be made accountable. That if you are not providing that standard, then how will you compensate that consumer? The third, transparency. If you take the money, how do you use it? I don't come to know. Somebody uses it in some manner, somebody uses it in some other manner. There is no transparency in terms of the collection of the money and how it is being used. The fourth is, if there is any problem, I should be heard. I mean, if that armed forces person was not heard, that is why he had to get down from the car and complain. And if he complains, he gets beaten up. Whereas the mechanism should be so user-friendly that he should be heard. He should be given a representation. There should be quality. So these are some of the 8 standards, 8 attributes of a consumer who expects from the service provider. Now, because they are not there, they are getting away, doing whatever they feel like. So I would like to say that because you brought up this issue and you are having a conversation on this, I only hope the people who make policies, especially the lawmakers, now that the Supreme Court has intervened, I think they should be given a wake-up call. That they should fix standards.
All right, Professor.
They should
you know
fix
what? Major General V.K. Datta also with us on the broadcast here. General Datta, when a soldier in uniform, and this is exactly why we wanted to speak on this. We wanted to deliberate and have a discussion on this, because even as the Supreme Court talks about that Kerala toll booth, where, for the longest of hours there was a traffic snarl and that particular order has been reserved, it's important that we revisit our toll sites. But specifically focusing on what happened at that Meerut Expressway toll booth, when a soldier in uniform who's heading back to duty is humiliated, is thrashed at a toll booth, what message does this send to the forces out there? Collectively, I think, as a society, our heads should hang in shame.
Absolutely, Kabir. A nation which cannot respect its armed forces should hang its head in shame. Those people who lay down their life for the security and safety of the nation, for the protection of our citizens, this is the way the citizens of this country will behave with the armed forces, whether it's on the toll plaza or at the airport in Srinagar. It is shameful. Army doesn't take law in its own hands. Maybe a day will come that they will do it. And they will teach a lesson to all these guys who deserve to be taught a lesson. My only worry is that in spite of the very laid down rules and acts, I'm quoting a Indian Tolls Army and Air Force Act of 1901, which was taken out during the British time. All the army personnel, whether Army, Navy, Air Force, were exempt from the tolls, including their families. Later on, when the Highways Authority of India came into existence and they made the toll roads and all, they deleted that clause of the families and they said only army personnel on duty. Now, what do they mean by duty? Every soldier is on duty 24/7, whether he's on annual leave, casual leave, or wherever he may be. He is called back to join his duty within 24 hours when an emergency arises. What do they mean by duty? Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who's done a very good job of making these highways,
Right.
What are we doing? What kind of toll plazas
So what do
we have?
you propose,
What kind of
General? Should there now be a
infrastructure
special protocol for soldiers and essential services personnel at the toll plaza? The generals enjoy it. Why not extend that for all our other Jawans?
Kabir, see, they must have an emergency lane which should give priority to all serving army, police and central armed police forces. Because they have to go and join a duty. They are going, even the man when who comes on casual leave, he's on duty. This man had come on casual leave. He had to catch a courier which flies from Srinagar to Delhi every weekend. He had to be there on time. And this is what they do. Delays on the toll plaza, traffic jams. How will the man reach on time? This is shameful. Mr. Nitin Gadkari said if there's a 3-minute delay on a toll plaza, the toll plaza should be opened. Then why is it not being implemented? Why are these contractors being given contract? Why are they not being arrested for flouting the laws? And then why can't we smoothen the tax system? Today you have a Vahan app. Every car's number is noted, his owner's name and his telephone number is known. You just take the photos of the cars which are passing, send a SMS to the owner, he'll pay the UPI. You don't have to stop a vehicle on the toll plaza. You don't even need a fast tag. We talk that we are a IT power in the world. What IT are we doing here? It is shameful. I've traveled all over
just
the
to add
world.
as a, act as the devil's advocate, I think 140 crore people, General, to, very seamlessly synergize technology for 140 crore people, there is going to be some sort of, ifs and buts and, of course, shortcomings on that particular front. But you've raised pertinent points over here that emergency lane should be a must at all of these toll plaza booths. Certainly. Sonali Shah, advocate and civic activist, also with us on the broadcast. Many thanks for joining us. Sonali, do we as a society also share the blame? Because many a times, it also happens from the riders themselves. These road rages, they come from the riders themselves. Patience. I think as a society, we've lost a little bit on patience. So do we as a society also share the blame when it comes to aggression at these plazas, people running through those barricades without even stopping, making it, a very trivial affair, vandalizing those toll booths, but then on the other side of the divide as well. What's your take?
Firstly, Kabir, thank you for having me here. I would say mental health is one of the areas that we really need to work upon. But just by saying that, we will not be able to do anything. If you see, there has been a persistent increase in the number of road rage incidents. Now, if we try to get into the root causes, there can be multiple factors which can lead to road rage. And it is very, very difficult to specify specific reasons on why a particular person ended up into something like this, where he got so agitated that he got brutal, he got violent. Now, the psychology of the person when he gets into that level of brutality, that can really never be curbed. As a society, what we need to understand that we need to be respectful towards our soldiers and Jawans. If we talk about the incident for today, 15th August has just passed by. And when 15th August comes, we all talk about patriotism. But when it comes to the respect of the people who protect our nation, we forget that. And also, we are actually not patriotic. It is actually really easy to pick up a national flag on 15th August and run around and drive around across streets with the national flag in hand. But technically, we are not patriotic. We are not concerned about infrastructure. We are not concerned about public facilities. We are the only country where the facilities which are meant for us are destroyed by us.
You know, some of these visuals that we're showcasing as well, Dr. Vail Murugan, I'm sure you're getting some of these shots as well. We've seen toll plazas turn into these flashpoints from fastags to fistfights. Take a look at that. And these are women employees sitting at those booths, and anything can go awry within a split second. Many of them having some night shifts as well. So you've got fights, you've got assaults. An army jawan, a jawan who was thrashed only today. Toll booths becoming such unsafe zones. 2.4 times the price has gone up over the last 6 years. But in terms of safety, what have we done for the employees over there? What have we done in terms of safety and facilities of the commuters that pass through these 1100 toll booths situated across our national highways? So much of money that is being minted from these toll booth plazas, but it seems like they're still in that dilapidated, rundown condition, no sort of security. Anybody can run through those barricades. Why?
Yeah, that's a very valid point. See, basically, one of the thought process was highway police patrol. That was one of the thought process government thought about 5 years back, but it has not seen the light of the day. If you have a highway patrol police, the dedicated staff from the government of India, like each of the states should deploy the police who are expected to be the guardians for these people who are working, so that their security will be enhanced. But that was one of the things which never saw the light of the day, basically.
So should we now have a reform that brings something like this onto the table? Is this something that the Central, Road Research Authority even discusses? Is this something that is in the minds of the people that are running the Transport Ministry right now?
Yeah, basically that is one of the thought process of the NCRB, National Crime Research Bureau. They are the one who are supposed to implement it based in consultation with Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. There was an entire thing they made, the entire procedural things, but it has not seen the light of the day even today.
Okay. Professor Misra, let's do a SWOT analysis real quickly. Again, from a consumer, experience point of view, are these tolls becoming simply a tax without any visible returns? 2.4 times in 6 years. I'm again mentioning that particular point. About 20% plus growth from last year itself. And with all of this money being pumped in, and of course we want to see a Vikasit Bharat, we want to see a Naya Bharat, but will we even be alive to see that Vikasit Bharat and Naya Bharat?
Well, you see, we have to bring fast-track reforms. And reforms, when I say, it means that there has to be some kind of a mechanism of deterrent punishment on people who are indisciplined, who take law in their own hands. Not our long-drawn judicial process where it takes 20 years to get an award or a verdict. There has to be kind of a fast-track conviction. And we have to make sure that it is followed through so that it sends shocking, effects to the people and they don't take the law in their own hand ever. Now, that is what is needed. And the most important thing is, you're talking about SWOT analysis. There are so many ministries, my panel members just now mentioned, who are supposed to be doing this work, which not in the, media we should be talking about, but these people who get fat salaries, who get so much of amenities from our taxpayers' money, they should be thinking about this SWOT analysis and try to understand, how do we move forward? And the answer I always get is that you have to develop mechanism of accountability, responsibility, and to ensure that the people are penalized who do not do due diligence in terms of their responsibility and work. And that is what is creating all the havoc in the country. So Viksit Bharat means what? Viksit Bharat means you bring in reforms which are pro-consumer, pro-citizen, and gives full respect to the people who pay. We don't even bother to realize that all what goes on in terms of we planning to reach the 5 trillion economy, 5 trillion economy cannot be reached if we do not bring an attitude of user focus or consumer focus.
I personally feel, Professor, that roads are important. With road comes a lot of development, with road comes a lot of capitalist reflex, which in turn is important for the GDP to grow. But how are people transporting themselves on that road is also a major question. Just building a good looking road that can look really nice on a big flex board that does again commercialize a political party, that doesn't really help the man on the ground. We have so many of these daytime traders and small time traders who are having to cross and pass through these toll booths on a monthly basis, shelling out extra money, coughing up extra money from their own pocket.
So in simple words, as I mentioned in my opening remark, there has to be standard set. If you don't set standard and don't make it people-centric and don't make people understand in a simple language what they should expect and what they should not expect, there is bound to be confusion.
Because these visuals that we're seeing right now... Right, Professor.
Because because there is no standard. First thing is the lawmakers have to bring that standard.
We need that standard, and we need that standard from a reform policy point of view, but we also need that standardization from a safety point of view as well. What are some of the safety lapses at these plazas? Sonali Shah, let me come to you quick. We'll have a general take the last word. What are some safety lapses at these plazas? We've seen no policing. We've seen that there's no grievance redressal because everybody is so busy to get to their point B and end destination. Who's going to stop and, put a particular complaint out? Maybe the pillion or the passenger can throw something on Twitter, but where does that finally lead one to? And there's no emergency response. So should there be a mandatory safety and accountability code, looking at this purely from a civic activist point of view?
See, when we look at from that point, we obviously need a check and balance. So if you look at the infrastructure, the way our toll plazas are conducted, we really don't need that. We have got FASTags. As of now, if we get the data, we would know that there are a large number of cars which have FASTag. We can have a separate lane which can be manned in order to minimize the exposure. Why do you need exposure of women and men across all 24/7? Why can't we have specific lanes? Why can't technology come into picture and make this process more hassle-free, with lesser human intervention? So as to any person who does not has a, FASTag or wants to pay the toll, they will have to go to a separate booth which can be on an extreme right, and for that they will have to go.
I think those separate lanes are already there. Those separate lanes are already there. FASTag is also most predominantly mandatory in all of these cases, but for the one person whose FASTag is probably you've got no money in that particular wallet, or your FASTag is not working, you have these dedicated emergency roads. But do we have the wherewithal of having zero human exposure? I mean, I'm imagining a very avant-garde, modernized toll booth plaza where everything happens via robots. There is no human. I still see people getting out of their cars and bashing up the windows and bashing up those robots because, well, you see something's not working technologically. I personally think there is no wherewithal for that right now. We still have people walking inside the toll booths and hitting those toll booth staffs and employees who are, at many a point, they're women and they're young girls also carrying out those jobs.
Of course, that's there. This is why I'm saying that the way we are conducting our toll business, that needs to be changed. There has to be an emergency response system. A patrol vehicle has to be permanently there so that there is a fare. Point is, we often see the road rage incidents wherein money is demanded specifically from certain groups. I would say certain groups who have certain kind of power or backing, and if you demand money from them, they get into road rage. You will not see normal, regular office-going people going through a road rage. They are the ones who are actually paying all the money and facing the burden of time. Like if you travel from Delhi, like Delhi to Gurgaon or Faridabad to Gurgaon, in the morning office hours, you will at least spend 30 minutes on toll.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So, of course, as a society, we need to look within ourselves. But from all these cases that I've been covering over the last couple of years, more than half a decade now, it seems like the road rages come in all shapes and sizes. I'll tell you what. Sonali, you have people who are very patient, can also end up partaking in road rage activities. Somebody who's definitely getting late for early morning office is going to get down from their car and hurl some abuses at the other person. But very plain looking, downright simple looking people also partake in these activities.
That's
So they
fine.
come in all shapes and sizes. I'm going to give the final say to General Datta, who's with us on the broadcast. General, you've already told us about how shameful it was that we beat up an army Jawan who was only getting anxious to get to his flight. But how does this now reflect largely on our society and from the consumer policy front as well? Because you're shelling in that money, but what are you really getting out of it? Is toll a tax that comes without any accountability? भाई वहां तक जाना है, क्रॉस करना है टोल प्लाजा, तो टोल देना पड़ेगा. But there is no redressal that can happen if you have any kind of grievance for it.
Absolutely. When you are charging money for something, the services have to be excellent. Nobody wants to get delayed on a highway. Everybody is running against time. Somebody is going to catch a flight. Somebody is going to go to the hospital. Somebody has to attend an office. So you cannot delay. And if you cannot provide a proper service at the toll booth, proper contractors, proper training to the contractors, people in uniform, contracted in uniform, they are given contracts by the government of India. What is their accountability of the contractor? The contractor of this toll booth should be arrested also, because that's the type of people is employed in this toll booth who will assault the people who are waiting for crossing the toll. So this is something, the government will have to take action. You have to regulate the traffic, highway traffic. You make as many roads. If there's no proper road sense, the traffic will never move. Heavy traffic on the left, rightmost lane, overtaking lane, middle lane is the regular lane.
Right.
There is no system in this country. No traffic police on the highway controlling or regulating traffic. You only find policemen standing on the crossings and cutting channels.
No, you're absolutely right, General, because toll plazas that were meant to make our journeys smoother and they were meant to make our journeys faster. Instead, these toll plazas have become symbols of frustration. Let's not take away from the fact that there is great development. We're making fantastic roads, but to maintain those roads, and from a consumer point, what kind of facilities are, we're not talking about one or two nice facilities that have been built, let's say on the Agra-Lucknow Expressway or somewhere else, across the country. Right now, the situation is that we do need to look at this from a policy reform point of view, because toll plazas have become flashpoints of rage, and as a society, we need to come together. So does the government. On that particular note, General Datta, always a pleasure to have you with us on News9. Dr. S. Will Murugan, many thanks for speaking to us. Professor Bijon Mishra, always a pleasure to have you with us. And Sonali Shah, advocate and civic activist, many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. We're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Top developments right on the other side. Don't worry. Associate sponsor, Dyna Premium Beauty Soap. पहली झलक करे खूबसूरत.
Maya, what do you like the most?
I love my dada.